Hey folks, this is Mr. MegaManFan, and if you like this channel and you like this video, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up and leave a comment below. This week on the PC Engine Files, I decided it's going to be a little different. I'm not just playing a PC Engine game this time. I'm playing something that was ported to PC Engine, although I'm going in reverse. Now I'm playing the original game. If you want to go back and watch the original video I did about Mizubaku Adventure, it's listed in the PC Engine Files. It's not that hard to find. But I'm playing the original Japanese game Liquid Kids. And judging by the fact that this game is entirely in Japanese, even though it's part of the Arcade Archive series on PS5 and other platforms, I get the feeling they never even attempted to export this outside of Japan, which didn't really surprise me given that I had never heard of the game before I played it for the PC Engine Files the first time. But what I wanted to find out, above and beyond all else, is how faithful the PC Engine version is to the arcade version. And the first problem I had was figuring out how to start the gosh darn game, because it's very easy to add credits, but it's not quite so obvious how to start it once you add those credits. I was pushing all of the action buttons on the PS5 controller, and it turns out it's the option button. Well, it's got to be different on everything. It's not the same on Nintendo Switch, because those arcade archives, you often have to use the trigger buttons or set a special button or use the, I don't even remember what it's called on the Switch Pro controller. Not the photograph button, not the sleep mode button, but there's another button that I think you use to select to start a game. You add the tokens with one of the triggers, if I recall. Anyway, getting off the point here, how does it compare? Mizubaku Adventure, Liquid Kids? Well, it feels the same, although obviously it's a little more graphically sharp because this is arcade, and I suppose I should say arcade hardware that's being emulated in this case, but what they're emulating is the original arcade board, so you've got a much higher level of fidelity than would be available on a PC Engine or a TurboGrafx 16. That being said, now that I've played the arcade version, I feel like it's very faithful, not just in the way that it's playing, but in the way the stages are designed. It feels very much the same as the stage design on the home console port, which makes it one of the most faithful ones that I can think of. I'm not saying that there aren't good adaptations of other arcade games to PC Engine, but this one feels like they really were right on the money, which I'm not even sure why they would go to so much tender loving care for Liquid Kids compared to other ports, either than the fact that the people who ported it were just huge fans of the arcade game, or the arcade game was such a huge hit in Japan that they had to do it justice or people were going to complain. Maybe a little bit of both. But these first two stages you can clear really fast on either version. And then it's after that that things start to get a little more interesting and a little more devious, because they put hazards in Mizubaku's way to slow him down. And at first it's just platforming hazards like bridges that fall underneath your feet, or spikes that you can't land on or they'll kill you, or tricky jumps that you have to clear. But it does keep ramping up. And one of the ways you can overcome that is collecting bonuses in a very Bubble Bobble style fashion by hitting an enemy with your ball of water and then bumping it, and it slides into the other enemies, and then once you do that, you create a combo, and sometimes it drops items after you create the combo that you can pick up for even more points. So you've got to work all the angles, so to speak, and you've got to be careful because some things are on fire, like these fire flowers here, and you can put them out, but then if you don't put it out again, the fire restarts. And if you do put it out, it falls away and there can be no platform underneath. It can just be spikes. So you gotta not just put out the fire, but consider what happens after you put the fire out and where you're standing when you do. There is a lot of different variables involved in Mizubaku Adventure, which makes it deceptive. It looks easy to play and it controls in a very natural way, but then the stage layout starts to screw with you just a little bit. The nice thing is that it's not overly punishing in either the PC Engine or the arcade original, because you can just add another credit or hit start either way and continue right where you left off. It doesn't take you back to a save point, it takes you right back to where you were. Even when you die in a level, it takes you back to right where you died, or very, very close to it. So it's a challenge, but it's not an overly ridiculous challenge. Just like this boss, you have to put out his fire in the middle to do damage to him. And all you have to do is time his bounces so that you don't get hit by him when he's jumping up and down. You can use these platforms to run under him or fire over him, but either way, you just keep moving and fire the shots into his mouth when you get the opportunity, and eventually you will put his fire out and defeat him. And once again, I have to say, credit to the developers of the PC Engine version, because this boss fight was largely the same in that game too, so they did a very, very thorough job of keeping the experience like what you would expect from the arcade game. If you played that, then you'd like this, and vice versa. Why did I say that and this? If you played this, you'd like that, is what I meant, because I'm playing the arcade version here, but it's so much like the PC Engine version that I'm actually getting a little mixed up. It's graphically superior, but the gameplay is the same. How often can you say that about a home conversion? And the more I play a Mizubaku Adventure, whether it's the PC Engine version or Liquid Kids on the Arcade Archive series, the more I realize that this game really deserved to have a larger audience outside of Japan. It's whimsical and cute, and certainly would have been a hit with kids if they had tried it here, but it's got enough challenge in the gameplay that I think adults would have enjoyed it as well. Although my cat Tango seems to disagree, if you can hear him complaining in the background. That's another thing that's throwing me off here, is whenever I decide to do my voiceover for a video, that seems to be the time that he takes issue with something for some reason. Certainly not because he hasn't been groomed, fed, petted, played with, had his litter cleaned, and is well taken care of in all ways. It's just, he likes to make his voice be heard. If he hears somebody talking, he has to be part of the conversation too, even though I don't know what he's saying, or vice versa. Sometimes I think he doesn't even understand when I say his name. I think he just knows that's a sound that means your human is in the presence of you. Move toward that sound. I feel like I could say any word other than Tango and he would probably still make noise and come my direction. So, Liquid Kids, it's a fun game. It's $7.99. It's not the cheapest one to download in the arcade archives, but that seems to be the typical price on PS5 and Nintendo Switch, and probably on anything else they're on, Steam, Xbox, I don't know. Once in a while they go on sale for like $3.99 if you catch it at the right time, but it doesn't feel inappropriate to pay $7.99 for an arcade port of a game if that game is good. If it's a lackluster game and you spent $7.99 plus tax on it, then you'd be regretting that decision. But I don't regret it here, because I feel like it's a superior version of a game that I already liked to begin with, and now I can play it on demand just as much as I can play it on demand on my TurboGrafx 16 with a EverDrive card in it, or on a core graphics with the Super HD System 3 or any other way, emulator, OpenEMU. There's so many ways you could play Mizubaku Adventure, but to play Liquid Kids, get it from the Arcade Archive series, no matter what way you do it, whether it's Switch, Steam, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, you've got choices. And speaking of which, I hope that by the time this video comes out, I'll have also gotten a Steam Deck and I'll have the choice to play it on there as well. Something that I've been looking forward to for a while, but as of the time that I'm recording this video, it hasn't shipped yet, so we'll see where I fall in that ordering launch window. It may be that I get it before I release this video, in which case this will be out of order, and I apologize for that, but I don't know which quarter I'm going to be in per se. I mean, I know what I got a guarantee for when I placed my order, but I don't know if people are going to cancel their orders and I'll get bumped up, or if they'll have a part shortage and I'll get bumped back. I can't predict how it's going to go. All I know is that sometime soon I should get a confirmation saying, you made a reservation, now pay for the rest of it, and hopefully that means that when I pay for the rest of it, it ships. Bye for now.